Right here was killed on my property in southern Michigan in 2001. It's what really got our marketing started for the Lucky Buck. This is the world's biggest aim point, the longest beams in Boone and Crockett history for any whitetail, and he was only 4 years old. He wasn't even grown up yet. So that really got everybody's attention. This whole story behind it is we actually found his sheds. These are all replica racks, but this is a replica of his sheds as a 2-year-old. 148 28-inch beams as a 2. That would have been his first year on Lucky Buck. 169 as a 3-year-old with 30-inch beams back here. 185 with 32.5-inch beams as a 4-year-old. So he would have been really impressive when he grew up, but we have a hard time getting people to pass these little ones up in our area. So. And 2 years later, the one up here on the end was killed, also in my home county, in southern Michigan, Hillsdale County. It's a state record for archery for Michigan at 225. He's 35 inches bigger than anything ever killed in our county before. He was on Lucky Buck for 2 years at that point. He still holds the record for archery for Michigan. This is the state record for youth for Michigan, killed by a 16-year-old kid with a bow during regular season, 50 yards behind his house. He'd been feeding this for 2 years, had trail camera pictures of this buck 50 yards behind his house. The house is in the middle of 10 acres. They live on 10 acres of ground. And he harvested this buck. That buck was on the front page of North American Whitetails spring of 04. He made front page spring of 05. This one made front page spring of 06. This one made front page last year in the spring. And I believe this one was about 4 years ago on the front page of North American Whitetails. This one is the biggest one ever killed in Ohio at 305 inches. He was on Lucky Buck 1 year. He put on 60 inches that year. He went from the mid-240s to 305 in 1 year. That buck will actually beat Hanson's as a typical if you knocked off 85 inches of jump. Wow. He nets 220, over 220 typical. So that's the biggest one ever killed in Ohio. This was number 4 all-time in Ohio at 267. The year before, he was 171 inches. These are his sheds the year before. He put on 96 inches in room within 1 year. He's been on Lucky Buck his entire life. This one here with a big club drop tine scores 250. He's top 10 all time for Ohio. Was killed with a traditional longbow. He was he was on Lucky Buck his entire life. This one right here. This one right here scores 203. He came out of eastern Indiana, or I'm sorry, southern Indiana. This is the guy that shot him. The year before, he looked like these. Wow. Oh. And that's him. And this is him when he recovers.
All right, we've got an update on the 3D shoot. The final shootout will be at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So if you want to watch some great shooters, make sure you get back there and get a seat.
This is a deer that didn't have
a left shootout for the 3D tournament. Make sure you get back there and get checked in for the 2 o'clock 3D shootout.
So this loudspeaker was bad.
Yeah, it's hard to pick up, yeah.
So the outfitter that was feeding the Lucky Buck said that this buck was on Lucky Buck more than any other deer he'd ever seen. It was on Lucky Buck almost every day the year he grew from this to this.
So that top picture looks like a clear vitamin deficiency.
Well, he'd been injured. He'd been hit.
Oh, was it injured?
He'd been probably an auto or something, problems.
So how long have you been doing Lucky Buck?
21 years. The business itself, Marvo Mineral Company, has been around for 100 years. They were established in 2000, or in 1918. So about around for 100 years. We celebrated last year our 100th anniversary for Marvo Mineral, our 20th anniversary for Lucky Buck.
I see that you got, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I see that you have some of this perfect perennial out as well. This is something new for Lucky Buck, right?
No, it's not new, but we don't promote it very much. Mineral is our main thing. we've actually had that blend out for a dozen years, and everybody that's been using it has been really happy with it. We just haven't really promoted it in the retail stores. There's a lot of good seed blends out there. What we've done with that is we've selected varieties that are true perennials. A lot of the blends have a lot of 2-year clovers in them, a lot of biennials. Technically it's a perennial, but it's a biennial, and after 2 years it's pretty well shot. There's a lot cheaper seeds, so people load it up with that and then they can sell the bag cheaper. My main emphasis is that I don't want to have to go repeat the process of putting that food plot in every couple of years. So that'll last by about double what everybody else is grown, because it has no biennial clovers in it. 7 varieties of clovers and alfalfa, just a little bit of chicory in it, but predominantly clover and alfalfa. The key to any forage is its stage of maturity as well. Even the worst weeds are palatable at a young age, but even the best clovers aren't palatable once they go into seed and they're fully mature. So what we've done in this blend is we've found varieties that have different optimum maturity dates throughout the summer. The key to killing a big buck, I feel, is to make him form a habit that he continues to go through and follows through with. What we've done with this is, theoretically, every week of the summer, there's one variety or another in there that's in its prime. So he comes in there every week of the summer, including the week you're in your stand at hunting season. So that blend has been really effective for us, but we just haven't promoted it as much. That's why you haven't seen it in the stores easily. I did want to tell you, this 8-point is the biggest ever legally killed. This one was killed in Cannon Falls, Minnesota, illegally. This one is 5 inches wider than this one. This one has a 25-inch spread. This one has a 30-inch spread. This one has 32.5-inch beams. This one has 32-inch beams. This one scores 185. This one scores 193. This one was on Lucky Buck for 4 years. This one was on Lucky Buck for 3 years. Wow. 5 states apart, 8 years apart. I don't think they were brothers. I don't think there was much genetic connection. The one connection was the Lucky Buck. So the 2 biggest clean 8s of all time, both on Lucky Buck. Wow. He was actually getting bigger. These are these are actual sheds the 2 years before. So as an 8-year-old, he's killed. At 7 and 6, he's still progressively getting bigger.
Yes, it was.
We've done this in all areas of the country. These are going to be hard to see. They're probably going to reflect, but
I'm working through it.
Both of these are North Carolina bucks that were on it. Both of these were voted the most impressive deer at the Dixie Deer Classic in their year that they were there. She killed this one in Cannon Falls, Minnesota after feeding it for several years. This is my dealer in Cannon Falls, Minnesota, who sold it for the big 8-point as well as hers, and he killed this one. This is Central PA. This buck was a clean 8-point the year before without the mineral and half the mass. Doubled his mass and went to a 15-point in 1 year.
Wow.
This is the kid that shot that youth state record with the great brow tines. And this is a trail camera picture of his deer. He bought a new trail camera picture, dumped a new pile of mineral out, had 8 pictures the next day, 50 yards behind his house.
Wow. Some proven success out of your product.
20 years, it's all of these deer are basically anecdotal evidence. It isn't scientific by any means, but I also don't see many of my competitors hanging up as many in their booths as I have been.
Absolutely.
And what really convinces me that it's working is not so much these record book bucks, but the ones that people bring me every day when I come to a show. I've been at this show for 16 years. People walk up here almost every 15 or 20 minutes and they bring their phone out and they show me the pictures of their deer. They say, we've never seen anything like this, or this is the biggest we've ever seen. And quite often they say, I don't know if it's the mineral, but I'm pretty sure I know, that it is the mineral after everybody says it the same way. The next person who walks up says the same thing. Maybe they don't shoot the deer, maybe the neighbor shoots the deer, but it has produced a bigger buck, and that's what it's all about.
Well, I thank you very much, Dave.
Thank you.
That was Dave with Lucky Buck. Go on to luckybuck.com and order yourself some minerals if you want to get into anything that's like this. See you guys soon. Thanks.